why he loves. That was a misspell. It's how he loves. I guess the next line is a misspell too because it said everyone would clap. I'm just kidding. It's a blank piece of paper. Sorry, I thought that was funny. Anyways, thank you so much for laughing at that. It meant a lot. Welcome back. We're on track now. How he loves part 3. Now, I've been going through this. Part 1 was he wants to protect you. Part 2 is he wants to be generous to you. This week, we're hitting on how he has already forgiven you. And, forgiveness and stuff, it can be kind of tricky. So, let's think about this real quick. Do you know how those people that always say sorry, and then you get angry that they're saying sorry too much? They say sorry this, sorry that, sorry that. So I was one of those people. And someone would say, you're saying sorry too much. And you say, sorry, wait. And it was just a bad cycle. It's I used to do that all the time. My mom got on to me, and then of course I'd apologize, and then she'd only get more angry. But I learned to be a little more sparing with my sorries. So, and then there's the opposite end of it. There's the people that never say sorry. They mess up and they just laugh it off. But you're kind of looking for I'm sorry or something. But anyways, there's both sides of it. But I just want to talk about how God has already forgiven us. And I think a verse in Colossians 3:13 touches on pretty good about the whole gist of forgiving. And it says here, Colossians 3:13, bearing with one another, and if one has a complaint against another, forgiving each other as the Lord has forgiven you, so you must also forgive. And I think this brings into a perspective a lot of how we should see it. Because if we've already been forgiven, why can't we forgive others no matter what's gone down? Because I know I've messed up a lot in my life, and it must be hard for God. I don't want to say hard because God is God. But if God is a person, I bet it would be pretty hard for him to forgive me 24/7 every time I mess up. But that in that same way, we need to have that kind of forgiveness in our lives because God has already set the example. So we need to be doing what he's doing. He says, what would Jesus do? Well, he'd forgive them. So even if they don't ask, like I said, the people that don't even say sorry, you don't know if really deep down it's just hard for them to say sorry because just the way they grew up or something. I like to say that you never know the reason why someone acts the way they do. And that's because you don't know their background. You don't know all this different stuff about them. So you can't just be oh, well, they must be a bad person or something. You just don't know how they got to where they are. It's even if they don't ask, I find it's so much more freeing to yourself, even the other person, but also to yourself. Because whenever you forgive someone, it's something you let go. It's Pastor Mitch says this a lot. He says, not forgiving someone is like drinking a poison expecting the other person to get hurt. It's even if they don't ask for it, you just need to let go of it. And maybe you just come up to them and be yo, something happened last week. And you know what? I just want to forgive you. I don't know if you've been thinking about it, but it's been on me. And I just want to say, I forgive you. Because you don't know how much that might actually be weighing on them. You don't know if they're holding on to it too. And then all of a sudden you say, you forgive them. And then they're just let go of it too. It frees you both. It's when you hold the key and you're both prisoner. You just let them both go. So also another important thing about forgiveness is it's not just something you say. It's something you do in your heart. So whenever you go to forgive someone, you don't just say you forgive them and then you find yourself a little bit later thinking back on it. Thoughts come and go, but if you hold on to that, that's gonna mess you up ultimately. It's gonna change how you act towards them. It's gonna change your decisions, all that stuff. So just number one, he wants us to forgive others. So this kind of goes into my second point. I wanna say that God holds no grudges. So I have a little story. So I was back in 3rd grade, right? And we had this thing called zombie tag. And it wasn't everyone that gets tagged as a zombie. It's you tag, it's regular tag, but you tag them on the head. So some injuries happened, when people just are coming too fast and they just bap. Anyways, so I was like trying to run away from the kid that was it. And so like I was like, where can I hide? Where can I hide? So I climbed up the slide, went up the stairs, and I climbed around the outside of the cage, and I was like hiding there. By the way, this slide was like 25 feet tall. Like it was like the biggest slide I've ever seen. And I climbed around the outside of the cage, and like I ducked down so like he wouldn't see me because I was like on the far side. Anyways, long story short, he saw me. He started climbing those stairs. So like I just kind of like leaned away from the cage because my brain was like, if you can't touch your head, I'm not it. So I like leaned my head back. So I'm like in the air on the outside of the cage, leaning back. And the kid like gets up on top of the bar, leans over and grabs my head and pushes. And I like fall. And I just like, boom, 25 feet back. I just hit the ground. And I can say that wasn't fun. I had to be helped. Like that hurt a lot. What? I almost died. I'm kidding, I didn't. I landed on this rock. It was about that big a source. Nah. But my friend helped me. I just limped off. But I'm not saying I'm holding a grudge, but for some reason I can still remember. I don't know, it's like, I don't know how many years. I can't do math. Anyways, a lot of years later. I'm not holding a grudge. I'm just saying I remember it. It's kind of funny thinking back on it now. But back then I was pretty angry. Which, God, please forgive Nathan. Yeah, amen. So anyways, he just like, it's just something that happened. And I had to learn how to let go of it eventually. And, you know, I didn't ever get the chance to really say I forgive him because he moved away the next year. But, I mean, forgiveness. So I want to say that with God holding no grudges, I want to say all you need to do is ask. See, it says like, ask and you shall receive from last week. Same thing goes for forgiveness. You just got to ask for it and it's already been received. Because, you know, back then, Jesus died on the cross. But your sins have already been forgiven, but that doesn't mean that you don't have to ask still. Like, knock and the door will be open, that kind of thing. But, like, I think a lot of the time that we just, like, kind of, like, bunch up all of our sin and we're like, okay, well, we'll just ask for forgiveness whenever we just, like, get this all in a pile and then we'll get rid of it. But, you know, we just mess up so much even daily that I find I need to ask for forgiveness daily because I don't know when my last time to ask for forgiveness is gonna be. Not to be like spooky and all that, but like, you know, you never know when your last day is. And I just wanna like be cleaning out the room every day for whenever Jesus is there. Because like I said, you never know. But I just like to constantly keep on my toes with God. I'm like, God, find somewhere else in my life where I need to start cleaning up. Find somewhere else where you can work on me a little bit because I know I can be better. So that's just like really important to me is that we ask and God gives. And just thinking back to a line in How He Loves, which is why my title is named How He Loves. There's a line that says, if His grace is an ocean, we're all sinking. And I think that's just a really good illustration of how His love really is. So if you think about the ocean, if you go from one end and you try to look to the other side of the coast, you're not gonna see it. The ocean's seemingly infinite from if you're just standing on the side. And I think that's just like how His love is it goes as far as the eye can see, is that it goes as farther than you can measure. And I think it just like, it's such a beautiful depiction of how much He just loves us because He wants to forgive us of everything. So like, if you can imagine it, you're standing in front of this ocean and like this little stone is your sin. If you like grab this stone and you huck it into the ocean as far as you can, guarantee 100%, 99.9%, you're never gonna see that stone again. It's just like that whenever you give your sin to God, it's gone. He forgets it. It's swallowed up by His grace, and He just takes care of it. I think that's just like a really good illustration of why God loves us so much and like how He just portrays it. Anthony, can you? So over this course, actually at the first week, I told a little bit about why this song means so much to me. And yeah, it's like all these beautiful lyrics, all these different things, but I think there's well, not I think I know there's a lot more reason behind it, which really sticks in my heart, and there's some meaning behind it, and I want to tell you a little bit. So, How He Loves was a human play that my sisters did, and it was to the song of How He Loves. And this human play, I had to go to every one of their practices. And this song drove me nuts. Like, I mean, day in, day out. My sisters even listened to it in the car. They listened to it when they were sitting in their room. And then I'd have to even, like, for some reason, I had to sit and watch them practice in their room. This song was like my enemy almost. But like, I just like heard it so much, so often. And then the human play was over, and I didn't hear it again for like a really long time. And so with my sisters, they were both in the human play. And as we grew up together, like, you know, like you imagine if you have like little or older sisters or brothers, some kind of sibling, you live with them every single day, you put up with them every single day, you love them every day, you kind of get angry at them every day. But like, you could never really imagine living without them. So like, that was kind of my perspective. Like, my parents would be like, well, when you grow up and you blah, blah, blah. I always imagined I'd grow up and then my sisters and I would like live in a house or something. Like, it was hard to imagine like being apart. And as we grew up, it was just like a little bit like my sisters, they got old enough to make their own decisions. They got old enough to drive and have their like friend groups that they could just go off and be like, I'm going out with them. That's okay. But they started going off and like making their own decisions, doing their own things. And I'm gonna say they weren't making exactly the best decisions. They were making choices that probably shouldn't have been made. They were doing things that shouldn't have been done. And I don't want to go into all the details. But they were just doing the wrong stuff, and they were starting to like just drift away. And I had a really good relationship with my middle sister, and that was kind of just slowly drifting off. And during this time, like my parents like started figuring out what they're doing, and they would like come to them and be like, "This isn't right," and my sisters would be like, "Well, I'm an adult now, I do what I want." So like something like slowly started driving a wedge between our family, and I was pretty ignorant of it at the time. I heard a little bit. I heard arguments every once in a while, but get to spend Christmas together as a family. And I can tell you, this would not have been possible if it wasn't for God. Because God works in so many ways that you can't even see that He's working ahead in the future.